Cap, what was the hardest part when you guys kept pushing, particularly in the second half, to 3 and 4? You finally get it to 1, but you just couldn't quite get it over the hump.
I think it was offensive rebounding. I feel like it was ball in there, ball on the floor. A lot of fly balls out there, and we didn't come up with.
They've moved pace-wise from 6th in the league to 2nd in the league. Were those some of the challenging moments when they decide to kind of get going and really push it, that they are at their best?
They're definitely a team that pushes pace. For us, we got to understand what type of team we're playing before we even get out there on the court. We understand that they were 2nd in pace. So next play speed has to be urgent. It has to be one of those things where we can't have too many glitches. We can have maybe 2, but when you start having 3, 4, 5 glitches, that's when it can cost you the game, like it did.
When you look at the Orlando game, it was a matter of you waited, you stayed right there. Did this have the same feeling until that final skirmish that, hey, let's just stay close, we can make our move, or was there sort of a disappointment that it took till those last 2 or 3 minutes to get to that juncture?
You're always disappointed when you end in a loss, but for us, we don't want to play behind. That's playing with fire. For us, it's trying to really go for the lead and try to keep the lead.
Coach noted in his post-game comments that some of the toughest moments for you all was when they really got to pace. They're number 2 in the league in pace. I know you guys knew that coming in, but what was the biggest challenge in trying to meet those particular moments?
I think just having a sense of urgency to get back. I don't think you really know or feel the pace until you're in the game and they're actually doing it. So just a little, a sense of urgency to keep getting back, and then, having to, once we feel it, really having to continue to get back.
The majority of that second half, you're pushing to make it a 3-point game, a 4-point game, and it's just going back and forth. You finally get it to 1. Mm-hmm. What was the most challenging thing of getting over that hump and trying to pull out another win?
I think just, getting over the hump. That was the hardest part. Having multiple times where we cut it to 4, cut it to 1 at the end there, and then we just couldn't get over the hump. And, I think defensively we could have got more stops and then a little bit better at execution, just continuing to make the right play on offense. But I thought we got good looks.
We had almost 60 points in the paint, I think. What was the biggest struggle? Just keeping you out of the paint, and how much of that was the pace, just creating those easy baskets over here?
Yeah, a lot of it was the pace, them just getting the ball out even after makes and running, us not, turning our heads and getting back. So it's part of it.
You go to Houston next, obviously young, athletic, solid team. How tough is it on this kind of turnaround to have this down-to-the-wire kind of game and then have to go right back against a rested team?
It's the NBA schedule. It's time. It's what it is, so we'll be ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you guys cut it to 1. There were 3 minutes left, and they go on that 9-0 run. What stood out just about that?
They made those shots. We had some plays where we got them to the last, 5 seconds of the clock and just could not finish, either a bucket, or a foul. And then at the other end, we just came up empty. There weren't bad looks. I wasn't like there wasn't intention. I'm okay with the intention of what we were trying to do offensively, but we just couldn't get the ball to go. There's one possession where we had one more to Duncan where he was open, but everything else I think was fine. It was appropriate. We just couldn't overcome it. Now, it was really tough. Also giving them some relief points, the transition, and the offensive rebounding. At key moments, going down the stretch, those are probably the deciding factors.
As far as getting to the deficit and what put you behind, that you were always in chase mode, was there something specific there?
To me, I got to look at it, but to me, it felt like it was the pace. Those relief points were really the difference. If you just take everything else, it was going to be a great basketball game. But, seemed like they had an advantage. The majority of those times they pushed it.
When you look at who they've become and the way Jalen Johnson has stepped up this season to his level, how much different does he make them with his game? It seemed like he was getting inside and into the paint, especially early, very frequently.
Yeah. They're different. They've been in years past. They're bigger. The guys they have around Young, seem to complement him. That's why they've played better recently.
And what you're trying to do with your bigs, obviously development, but also win. What Khalil did today, your thoughts on sort of his performance, and how is that process going?
It's going, and we'll continue, to develop this, him in this process. This was a fast-paced game. There's a lot of things going on, and that's this league. Particularly if you come in with the second unit.